guys, and welcome to this week's reading vlog where I'm finally gonna sit down and lock in and after a whole year of waiting around to do this, kind of read the remaining books I have left in the Fourth Wing series and finally get around to them because I enjoyed that, or at least the first book in it, so much that I gave it 5 stars when I read it for a second time, and there's really no reason why I haven't gone ahead and picked these up again to continue where the story is going. But also because I actually recently found out that there's gonna be like a new novel set in the same world releasing later this year, which means this is like the stars aligning and telling me that now is the time to kind of lock in and see what the rest of these books are about. Iron Flame and Onyx Storm specifically, the ones that are out at the moment, to kind of figure out what the lore and backstory behind everything is, to kind of figure out what the plot theories that people are discussing on the internet are about, and also to prepare myself before the next one comes out, which is why that's what we're doing in today's vlog. We'll be reading the two of these together, seeing if the hype is real, and because I'm the biggest critic ever, if I end up enjoying them overall as well, because my opinions can really differ from what people end up saying at the end of the day, which is why that's what we're doing today. It's gonna be so fun because I've waited again so long to do this, and let's just hop right in because that's today's video. So now for context, one of the main reasons that I'm going ahead and reading all of these pages in probably the prettiest books I own ever, because the edges are sprayed obviously, is because these books are actually part of my cousin's favorite series that she's ever read, and we actually read the first book in the series together as part of book club, and at the moment at least she's reading my favorite series ever, so I feel like this would be a great surprise for me to actually get done with these and then go discuss them with her. Because for context, when I head out on vacation, I'll be like 40 minutes away from where she lives, which means I'll hopefully be seeing her a lot this summer, and it'll be really fun as part of book club and as part of general discussions if I can get these done in time to kind of surprise her that the fact that I've read it and whatnot, but also to be able to sit down and dissect these with her, which means I really need to lock in, read all of these pages throughout the next 1 week and get all of this done before I go, so I can kind of obviously know everything about it before I go and rave about them with her, but also because I want to catch up on everything, simply because these days I feel like there's like a lot of spoilers that are coming up about these books specifically in my feed as well, and I want to enjoy them and soak up the full experience of having read them before anything gets accidentally spoiled for me, which means I feel like now is the perfect time. I can also kind of prepare before the next one comes out later this year as well, the new 176 page book, which means that's what we're doing in this video. This won't be a full spoiler breakdown like I do for other fantasy books though, because those videos take like a lot out of me when I record them, simply because they involve like detailed note taking and whatnot to kind of figure out my thoughts on what might be important later in the series, and frankly I'm really rushing it and cutting it close trying to get all these pages in, especially because like fantasy is not my usual go-to genre, simply because I don't enjoy it most of the times, but also it takes so much brain power and so much time to get through it that it's not really my favorite. And if I were to read all of this and give you like a full spoiler breakdown, it would take me longer than when I'm heading out for vacation and whatnot, and I really just want to get them done on time before I go so I can surprise her, which means today's video will for the most part be a non-spoiler vlog, but I'll vaguely still be discussing my thoughts on certain things happening in the book. So if you don't want anything spoiled for you whatsoever, you don't want to know any thoughts about this series if you haven't read it already, you should probably skip it. But if you're okay with it, or if you've read the series and you just want like a quick refresher hanging around and reading these with me, stay tuned for the span of the next week as we go ahead and probably finish both of these and see what I think about them, because again I need to get these done. I need to see why everyone's raving about them, and I need to have them done in time to discuss with my cousin as well, which is why that's what we're doing today. The main reason it's taken me so long to get to Iron Flame, specifically the next book after Fourth Wing, is because I've heard the internet say that it's major filler and whatnot and it's kind of boring, and I'll be the judge of that obviously, but that's obviously scared me off of going into it. But my cousin's obviously been raving about it because she loves this so much that again I'm excited to see where it goes, which is why now I'll lock in, I'll start this, I'll see what my final thoughts on it are, and I'll come update you all in a bit once I do have some progress. But yeah, this is scaring me, but I'm still ready for it because look at how thick it is, but also can you imagine how fun it would be if I actually do end up enjoying it, if you know what I mean. So I'm gonna go now. I think I'll listen on graphic audio because that, when I heard it for the first time for Fourth Wing, it was really fun, and also because I kind of want to get this elephant embroidery done tonight as well, and so hopefully we'll get like a bunch listened to, we'll get some of my embroidery done, and those are my plans for today evening, so really fun overall. I'm gonna start now, stop delaying it by yapping along, but yeah, that's what we're doing today. So excited, and now let's just jump right in. Hi guys, and now I'm back because it's time for my first update on Iron Flame, because all I've done this entire evening is read, but it's so crazy because it doesn't even look like I have a lot of progress in, especially because I went and checked on Goodreads. This book is 623 pages long because I didn't want to like spoil the end bits for me by flipping over, but at the moment I've hit like page 161 chapter 17, and all evening reading has resulted in the point where I'm at, I would say, like the under 30% mark, so I'm not even a third of the way through, but I still have a couple of things to say, which is why it's time for my initial update. First checkpoint has been reached, and all I'll say is I should not have been as scared as the way the internet made me feel, especially because a lot of people don't like this book, this one specifically online. They don't really think it's like a great sequel to Fourth Wing, but also because they say it's like full of filler, and while I'm personally seeing that definitely happening as it's, you know, going through, I feel like what's being told at the moment is very important to the story, and at the moment it's all vibes, because while I'm understanding bits of it, some of them are definitely going over my head, but I'm still here for the experience because I'm having like a decently great time. It's not as bad as I thought I would, and I feel like this is very important in fantasy as well, because the author is building for the rest of the books that might come later in the series, and obviously, you know, there's just some things you need to know for when they show up later and whatnot, which is why I feel like she's setting the base right now. I'm not having the worst time. It's definitely a slower read, but that makes sense because of how long it is, and that's my progress update right now. For a quick premise of this book, basically we follow Violet after the events of the end of the first book, which they were already crazy in itself, but this one you're kind of watching her settle with the kind of knowledge she knows at this point, because now everything she was told in her life leading up to that moment has been a lie, and suddenly she has to decide whether she wants to choose her morals or choose the right easy path and whatnot to pick. And so you kind of watch her kind of making decisions and debating, but also you kind of watch her in now the conquest and search for the real truth. And people don't really expect a lot out of her, because obviously going into the first book, you know that she wasn't really wanting to be a rider squadron rider in the first place. She wanted to be a scribe, and so her body is not built for one as the rider squadron. This is in her second year following her right now, and she obviously survived the first year. She made it through everything that happened towards the end of the book. That's made her more powerful than ever, body and mind, to the point where she thinks she's perfect to kind of fight on the right side of history at this point, which is why she's starting to do her research. She's starting to understand what she needs to know about what might come later, and you know, there's obviously a quest for the truth, but there's also, you know, shady things happening in the background that you're trying to pick up on. And so far, again, what I'm enjoying about this book is that it's giving you context, but it's not boring, because I feel like the fantasy vibes are very similar to obviously the first book, because it's in the same world, but you know, with the same elements, with the same action and stuff that I really enjoyed of the first book. And obviously the romance in here is kind of like second chance, that the crumbs of which I am eating up. It's just every time they refer to each other as their soulmates, it's kind of not really getting me, because I feel like their connection started off very physical and I don't really see that. But apart from all of that, at the moment at least, I'm still having a not bad time. I'm enjoying this more than I thought I would, and I can't wait to see where it goes next in the story, because at this point she's accumulated like a couple of enemies that are not really great in the overall arc. I'm kind of scared for her, and I feel like the decisions she's making are very like dangerous and whatnot, but I feel like that's the point, taking the risks for, you know, obviously the audience entertainment, but also towards the story. And I feel like everything we're being told right now will connect in later in the bigger plot, especially because I have a couple theories going at the moment, nothing too concrete, because I feel like fantasy still ends up wowing me even if I've guessed most of it, because there's always something behind the hidden picture that I never get, but that's something that's happening. And another thing I wanted to mention is that we've actually introduced a new character. She's the relative of Liam from the first book, his sister, and I won't say much about her at the moment, but all I'll say is, yeah, kind of hurts, but at the same time I can't wait to see her storyline and arc as well, and where the things pick up from later in this book, because at the moment Violet and Zayton aren't getting to meet each other a lot. It's just like once a week because of certain things happening in the book, so there's obviously that storyline as well. There's something different with the dragons going on, and so I'll continue reading. I will continue into the night hopefully today as I try to get my elephant embroidery done, which means I'm hoping at least to get like halfway by tonight, so I have like, you know, decent progress to come speak about by the next time I come in. Yeah, so far it's not really a bad book. It's sitting at like a decent 4 if I were to rate it at the moment. It's definitely not like the 5-star that the first book was, but I don't hate it the way I thought I would, which is why, again, having like a not so bad time. And so I'll continue reading now. I'll see y'all in a bit once I have things to say. But one thing I did want to mention is that my bookmark actually matches the book, because once I got the book and whatnot, this was actually given to me kindly, and so this is really fun. I have a matching bookmark with my book, and I'm having the best time reading at the moment. I can't wait to see some of my questions getting answered, and hopefully things things continue in a not so bad way, because if the author kills off my favorite characters at the moment, I will be very pissed off, and that's just something I'm kind of scared about, because there have been a couple close calls so far at least. But yeah, I feel like all these characters, they just need to take a good vacation and whatnot, because they can't catch a break, at least at the moment. There's just so much shit going down behind the picture that you don't even know much about. You're just scared for them. My anxiety has been spiking, but hopefully we'll get some resolution to that to this point as well. Some more questions answered, some more overall world building done, so you start to understand the bigger picture again. And yeah, those are my thoughts so far on Iron Flame. I'm gonna go continue reading, see again what else I think. There have been a couple things that have stood out to me, which I will discuss towards the end of the video, but for now at least, I feel like it's an alright read, and I can't wait to go continue. So I'll see you all in a bit once I have hopefully like the halfway point hit next now and my elephant complete. But until then, that was my first update, and I'm gonna go have dinner now, so that's it. Bye. Hi guys, and now it's update time, because it's actually Thursday today, so a couple of days later, and I'm still reading this book. It's such like a brick of a book, but at the same time I'm having the best time ever, so I don't even care, because at this point I've just hit like beyond the halfway mark. I checked, I'm on page 355 in the middle of a chapter, and that's because I went ahead and I've been continuing listening sporadically, because I've had like other plans and other things I've been needing to do in the past couple days. But also every time I get listening, I get hooked and obsessed, to the point where I was listening till 4 in the morning yesterday. The part of the graphic audio, I did not realize it, but it splits off, and that completely hit my mind that it's actually broken up into 2 parts. So it finishes off the first part of it at this like very crucial scene. Something insane happens. You have to see now the outcomes of what decision has been taken and whatnot. And so for me personally, I was freaking out at 4 in the morning, running to like buy the next one in the parts and whatnot, because I think there's like a second part to this as well. And so I got that, I continued listening, and then I was feeling sleepy, which is why I had to like pause it after like about a half hour of listening or something like that, which is why I'm in the middle. But all in all to say, I'm just so obsessed with this book. I'm on the second part of the graphic audio right now, having an incredibly good time, better than last time, because last time it was kind of slow moving, but now I feel like it's established all its elements really well. I don't know why the people on the internet don't like or don't seem to like it so much, because for me personally, I mean, I can understand, because this one definitely does not have like a great balance between the romance and the fantasy elements like the first book did. The beginning of it, there's quite a bit of like info dumping on you, and there aren't a lot of scenes where we get Xaden and Violet together, because they are off doing their own separate things and whatnot. But for me personally, the reason it worked is because number one, I have been dying with a bunch of questions for like the world situation, and so the fantasy is definitely like exploring that and exploring the roots, which are somewhat getting it answered and getting me more curious. So that is fun, and the way it's written is just getting me more excited to keep reading, to see if I'm actually going to get answers at some point. And then the second reason is because I know we don't get a lot of Xaden and Violet, but at the beginning of chapters we do get like excerpts from the letters he's been writing her. And for me personally, letter writing is like one of the biggest forms out there of romance, simply because it just works every time. I'm gonna fold every time I read it, and it's definitely working here. Even if you're getting a couple lines, that's more than enough for me. And I feel like that, along with the distance, has actually established that they're truly in love. And so what I said in my previous clip, I definitely take back. They aren't like physical or physically in love together anymore. I can definitely see the emotional connect. I can definitely see how they just belong together. They're like so soulmatey in everything they do. And yeah, I'm just so obsessed with it at this point. This book is definitely picked up. I'm enjoying every single crumb I get at the moment, and at least right now the craziest shit has happened at the moment. I want to see how it continues. I think before the halfway point, just before, there was this one insane scene. It's like a torture scene, but I won't tell you anything beyond. And there's one character from book 1 who I've been in love with, and I feel like was definitely wronged, comes back in that scene, and all I'll say is I was crying at that point. I'm being very vague for reasons that you'll understand if you've read the book and whatnot, but I lost my shit there. In that moment I knew that if it continues the same way, this book is an easy 5-star for me. I don't even care like the first 30% was not the fastest, because I feel like the way the book is established at this point, I'm eating it up. There's so many good moments in it. I love the friend group in it. I have so many questions about so many characters, but also the sort of mystery element with the fantasy and the dragons, and I have questions about Andana, the other dragon, and all these other things going on in the world, and the stakes getting even higher as you keep reading. Sorry, I'm just eating it up, having the best time. But all in all, to say for this update specifically, I have hit like the 56% mark at this point. I have only under halfway left to go. But the thing is, today is Thursday, and that would mean I would still have to go ahead and finish this out and then go ahead and read Onyx, which is not as big as this obviously, but it's about the same length and whatnot, and get into that and finish all of that out before I'm posting this vlog on Sunday, which in my opinion is not releasable. I just did not think this fully through, because again, I'm not the fastest fantasy reader even if I'm listening on audio, because I can't do it. Sometimes I need breaks in the middle so I can process what I'm reading and to actually enjoy this and absorb everything that it needs to give me, because I am getting amazing feelings from this and I want to savor that. It means I'm not actually going to speed up the process to make sure the video comes out on time, which is why for now I'm going to go continue reading this in the background, because I feel like at this point I don't have a lot to say anyway that would not be a spoiler, which is why I will continue reading. I will see y'all now maybe towards the end of it, or once I'm done with this one specifically. But I am going to stop this video for right now at least. I will come back to it in a few days and whatnot once I have gone ahead with this. It's just I'll go record something else, maybe like a quicker vlog and whatnot that I'll be posting this week for y'all, because I'm not skipping my Sunday uploads, which is why I see y'all in a bit once I get this book done and also have caught up on other things. But then next week we'll have locked in completely. We'll go ahead with Onyx before I head out on vacation, and I'll still have time to sit down and actually enjoy these books rather than force reading them, or at least trying to speed read them so that the video comes out on time, which is why that was my current update. I'm gonna go get back to it in a bit now, but so far I'm just having such an incredible time. I love these people so much. I love how they show up for each other and they're just there throughout, and the mysteries that are being introduced and this like new character that's popped up and all these other things, and overall it's just shaping up to be so good that I'm kind of regretting the fact that it's taken me so long to get to it, which is why again shows that sometimes my opinion does not line up with the internet opinion in a good way. And now I can't wait to get back to this, so I'll see you all once I have more things to say. But that was right now's update, and I'm gonna go record the other vlog now for this week's upload. But I'll see y'all again in not so long, because again I literally cannot wait to pounce and attack this and have it all done, because there's so much going on right now. I cannot express it, but just know that I'm having the best time ever. And yeah, I'm so happy I managed to get this edition of the book before it's been sold out in the market. I literally got it in release week, because I have like a fancy edition of a book I'm having the best time with, and that's like truly the best feeling. So here we are. I'm gonna go get back to it now, and I'll see you all in a bit with my next update. And so until then, bye. Hi guys, so it's now Wednesday of the next week. I'm back for the vlog because I did go ahead and finish the book. It's just I didn't come in an update because I've had already a really hectic week. Number one, I was finishing off last week's video because this one, like I predicted, ended up running longer. I was not able to get the books done, and so I figured I need to still have something else to post, and so there was that. Then there was also the fact that I spent all of yesterday doing all this like late last minute packing because I'm actually leaving today. So funny, I'm recording before I'm gonna leave and I'm already running late for everything, but here we are anyway. Basically all I came in to say was, yeah, I've had a hectic week, but I did go ahead and finish the last little bit that I had left of this book, Iron Flame. So I'm not actually carrying it with me on vacation because I'm done reading it. Why would I take it? So I've come in for like a quick final update that I need to give you, because I was listening to this on like the graphic audio. I listened to the second part, finished it out. The bookmark is just in there for whatever reason, and I wanted to come speak and give you my final thoughts on it before I go and put it away, because it's not coming with me on vacation. So I need to kind of conclude what I have to say while I still have the book in my hand and I can show it as I'm speaking. But for this specifically, I genuinely had a better time than I thought, especially considering the fact that the internet said this was like full filler. And while I do agree and understand and understand some bits that they definitely felt like it, some bits were definitely slow and draggy and info dumping, which is why it wasn't a full 5-star. I still had a surprisingly good time because I went in with zero expectations, and that just goes to say that sometimes you should believe the internet when they say something's not good, because you don't have expectations and suddenly you end up enjoying it a lot more than you thought you would. Because this is like an easy 4.5 stars. I had so much fun reading. I have so many theories going at the moment that I can't wait to now discuss towards the end segment of this video specifically. But for this specifically, again, I had a good time reading because I feel like the fantasy element was better explored than in book one. The world was definitely built up, and one thing I really enjoyed about this was the fact that while it wasn't sitting around like a hopeless princess waiting to be saved, she was doing the saving in whatever capacity she could. She was trying to explore and understand and sort of like break down what's going on. And then at the very end, we have like two of the biggest plot twists ever, and all I'll say is this author is crazy for doing that. one is about one of the main characters and one thing is something that happens to a side character, and all I'll say is I still haven't recovered. I cried, I'm in shock, I'm still trying to process what I just read. Obviously I dove exactly quick into like Onyx Storm and I'm not done with it at this point. We'll get to it in a second, but just know that this book was still perfect in my opinion. I don't know why everyone's so harsh about it, because frankly for me it was a really good time, and this actually has opened up again the floodgates for like a lot of speculations on the book, which now I'm gonna indulge in as well. So I think I'm gonna give it like 4.5 stars. This was really fun in my opinion, and here we are. This one's done at this point. All I'll say is my house, my chair, my woman. If you know the reference, I'm sad. I'm gonna fold like a long chair because this was just so good. I'm still stuck on that, and I'm so happy that I actually went ahead and got this edition around the time it came out, because if I were to find this in the market now, they don't sell it anymore. So I have a good edition of a really good book that I enjoyed a lot, and I'm happy I caved, because when Alchemized came out I really wanted to buy the Spirit Edges version of that as well, but I did end up enjoying that. So it's like a 50-50 gamble, and I kind of saved the money because I didn't end up getting that. So here I won the bet because I did enjoy the book, and now I have a fun edition of it, and here we are. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm back. But basically what I was saying was I did go ahead and start the next book in the series, Onyx Storm, because the events of the previous book, I was just so shook after that. I needed to see how the dynamic would proceed and how certain things might get resolved. They still haven't, but again, certain things have changed, certain things are different now, and you have to follow the progression of some characters as they go on like certain quests and whatnot for other like adventures and missions, and it's really fun, the book. But one thing I will say is that the internet kind of overhyped this for me, because everyone says this is their like ride or die book, and at the moment I'm not really getting those vibes, because I feel like the romance department has definitely dwindled because of like accurate reasons, and it's correct. It's just at the moment there isn't really a lot to go off on. The crumbs I'm enjoying is just that's something, and I'm not complaining because I don't hate it, but that is definitely there. And then the fantasy elements, I feel like some bits are definitely getting boring, so I'm hoping the plot like progresses and stuff, because it's not a bad book. It's just I need something to happen right now, because my attention span is not that great. It needs drastic and dynamic things to happen for it to actually be held in place, which is why I'm gonna go keep reading, see where I'm at, because at the moment I'm listening to the first part of the graphic audio. I actually started as I was like packing for vacation and whatnot, and I have both parts downloaded for my road trip later today, because my dad's gonna be driving, which means I have all the free range to like listen to whatever I want, because I don't have to like focus on the road, which means hopefully I'll be getting this done at least over today and maybe even tomorrow if I don't on the road trip. But regardless, I'm optimistic. I have both parts downloaded. We'll see how much I end up listening to. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now for this. I have only 3 main questions I want really just answered in this book, so we'll have to see, because the way it's been leading up in this one, I'm hoping we'll get some sort of resolution on that. But for now, it's gonna be number 1 about Zayden's mom, because I feel like she's just gonna come back as some sort of like big villain, because nothing's really come up about her yet. Secondly, about Violet's hair, because like there's all these clues being thrown in, and now I'm questioning stuff, because like again, that's the whole point of like a good fantasy series, but that's also something. And lastly, Darna, because again, there's so much like random shit thrown about her everywhere that is kind of confusing, and I want to be on the right track with my guesses, which is why hopefully some of those will get answered in this book as I keep reading. Hopefully it will pick up and hold my attention now, because it's a good book. Again, it's like 4.5 stars. I'm really happy I got, you know, the edges and whatnot. It's just at the moment it's not really 5 stars. It just, I need something to happen for it to be. It's a good book that I'm happy I've got like a fun edition of. I remember the week it came out, I went ahead and got like 1 copy for me and 1 for my cousin, because she doesn't have her bookstore selling the edges version, which means now we both get to enjoy and squeal about this. And the fact that the end papers are gorgeous. Obviously, I'm like a huge fan of the fandom at this point. The whole point of this book is this quote at the back. I won't spoil it for you, but if you want to, you can read it and then pray that things go in everyone's favor, because Rebecca Yarros is the sort of author who would kill off her characters for fun. So I just need everyone to be happy and alive and things to like get good for certain people. But otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna go keep reading. Hopefully things do pick up at the moment. It is a good time overall. It's just I need some of my theories getting answered now, and I think it's about time. So I'll get on with it. I'll see y'all maybe in my next update now once I have more to say on it, but it'll be like quite later in the book, because again, I will have listened to like most of it hopefully on my car ride to vacation, and then hopefully most of it will be done by then. But one thing is that I won't actually be taking the physical of this with me on vacation, because number 1, this is huge to carry, and number 2, because I will, if I most likely end up listening to the whole thing, be done with this by the time I reach there, and so it doesn't make sense to carry a physical of an entire book that's already complete, which means my next update I won't have this physically in my hand. I will have left it behind at home. Just know that it's a book worth reading anyway, in my opinion, and I'm so happy I've got it. And yeah, hopefully now to my theories getting answered, crossing my fingers and praying that everything stays okay. and I'm gonna go get back to it. I'll continue listening as I'm doing my last minute packing, continue on the road trip, and see you all now directly once I'm off on vacation, because the time has finally come. I've been waiting all year for this moment. It's finally time. That's it. So I'll see you all in a bit, and that's it for now, and bye. Okay guys, so I'm now back in here for the next update because I finally reached here on vacation, and it's actually been a couple days since my last update, exactly 2 days, because that's how long it took me to sort of recover from like an exhausting car journey here. But thanks to all of that and whatnot, I still have been able to like continue listening to our book and whatnot, continue catching up on it, and I have a couple of days to give you in that sphere, a couple chatty stories. So overall this is gonna be like a long update, so let's just like strap right in because I have so many things to talk about. Number one, whenever I listen to graphic audios, I think for fantasy specifically, they always split up because the length would be too big otherwise, thanks to which this book, it's been split up into 2 parts to listen to, and I had the foresight to sort of download both and keep them ready because I knew signal on the road would be spotty, thanks to which I did go ahead and finish listening to the first part on the road. I did start the second part as well, and we still had like 3 hours ahead of us left on the trip, so I figured that's more than enough to like get through at least majority of it, considering the fact that I was listening to it sped up. And so we were gonna be on track to finishing the book much sooner than today, obviously. But then the thing happened that every time we take this trip, and it's been many times that we've taken it, my dad is so used to the roads that he doesn't need any sort of navigation or whatnot. He doesn't need the maps running because he just knows it, except this time around there were like roadblocks and something different going on, and he had to like change roads and whatnot because the main one was being like worked upon or something. And so thanks to which everyone else in the car was sleeping, no one really realized what was going on. He was driving, but we ended up getting like lost and whatnot in this like really sketchy part of town. I was just getting like the worst vibes ever, and we all know my anxiety gets bad when things happen in that sort of way. Everything outside, it wasn't like looking great or anything, and even if I turned on maps and stuff, it wasn't the sort wherein he can focus on the screen and the road at the same time, because it's the highway. Obviously people are like speeding by, you need to be like very aware. And so I figured I'll put down my audiobook for a bit, help him with the roads and whatnot, just navigate, get out of that mess and whatnot, because genuinely I don't even know how I focused on my audiobook with my hands shaking at the level I was scared of. Except as we made it out of that, we finally got back to the right road, and he told me he knew the roads from beyond. I still kept the maps running to just make sure we don't end up in that situation again, to the point where I didn't end up listening to the audiobook for the rest of the journey, simply because I was just like shit scared, honestly. So thanks to like getting lost and all those things coming into play, I did not manage to finish it out on the car ride, and I still have quite a bit of the second part left, to the point where I've come in to say that I'm gonna go get back to listening now. But I just wanted to update that I'm done with more than half of the book. I can't tell you exactly what, because I did not end up carrying it with me on vacation now. It's just I have most of it done, and now I will get back to the rest of it. I just had to take that little break in the middle on the car ride, or we would have been done by now. And that's story number 1. Story number 2 is the fact that just now I figured, okay, I'll head out to the library and whatnot, because I still have my subscription going. It's right down the road. Lock in and like get some reading in. Except the thing is, I have this book on audiobook, and so I figured when I get to the library, I'd read either something else on Kindle or I'd get this on Kindle and whatnot. But every single time, it's always May 1st, and I somehow always forget. I went there and I realized it's Workers' Day, so everything is like shut and whatnot, which means I had to come back home. Literally nothing's open to go to right now. I can go sit on like a park bench, but again, I think this was just like the universe is trying to tell me that maybe just don't buy another version of Onyx Storm on Kindle. Just continue with the audiobook I've got and finish it out that way, which is why now I'm back home to continue listening and finish the last little bit I have left. If I speed it up on 2x, and with the remaining speed that's left and whatnot, the length, I have about 3.5 hours left to listen to, and I definitely think I can lock in this evening and get it done, because I have a couple things I need to do, so it's like perfect like timing and whatnot. Listen to that, get it done. But also because if I like speed it up further, the thing is, because it's graphic audio and because it's supposed to be like a movie in your mind, the sound effects in the background, they become a little too rushed, and I'm not really able to focus and understand. And so only for this one specifically, I'll go on 2x, I'll listen to the 3.5 hours, and hopefully I will lock in and finish it this evening, so there's enough time to still go enjoy like sunset and stuff outside, because it's always there for me to enjoy regardless of what day it is. And so I'm gonna go do all of that. Hopefully I will get the book done regardless today itself as well, and then it'll be the last day for the video, because tomorrow there's this party I'm gonna be going to, and I'll be back home really late, which means I don't think there'll be time to like read tomorrow, because I want to get ready, I want to do all of that, but also because I like editing on Saturdays, and then I won't have a chance to do that tomorrow either because I'll be over there, which means if I can get this done today, I can also start like the editing process early tonight, so I have like the night off tomorrow and then post it on Sunday, which is why here we are. Lots of goal plans for today. Basically, a bit of time was definitely wasted with the whole highway debacle, and then today figuring out that the library is shut, so I have to still stay at home and lock in and read. But I think that's just my sign to still go ahead and get the book done, because it's time to stop procrastinating. It's time to lock in and do so. At some point I would like to go sit out on the deck, and that's where I wanted to update as the sun was going down in the background, but the thing is it's kind of windy there, so I'm not really sure if I'll come in and speak to you from there. I will try if I can like salvage the audio there and stuff, but until then, yeah, I'm gonna go get back to my book now regardless of everything. And all I wanted to say is, to the point where I've reached right now, the first part, it ends off on like the craziest cliffhanger ever, so I knew I wanted to jump in the second. And the second, now finally things have picked up on the fantasy end of, you know, the story and whatnot. They had this like whole quest they were going on, and I reached the part wherein what they were looking for has come and found them essentially. And I won't tell you more than that if you haven't read the books, it's like a huge spoiler. But now I'm ready to see what happens next, because it is interesting. It's just, it's taking a bit and it's kind of dragging, but again, we just have to see how it goes. I will continue seeing and hearing it out, and hopefully, yeah, I'll be done next time I come see you, because there isn't a lot left. It's just for right now, all those things happened, which is why I wasn't able to get it done at this point. But I will lock in today and it'll definitely happen today. So here we are with my final second last update, whatever. I'll see you next time once I'm done with it, and that's it. I'm gonna go actually read now. Bye. Okay guys, and now it's time for my final update, because despite all the bickering and yapping in the last clip, I did not manage to do any of the things I was aiming to do. Basically, I was not able to get done with the book before the party. I was not able to start editing the video, and so today was basically my day of playing catch up in time for posting tonight, which is why here I am kind of speeding through it all, because at this point I've gone ahead, I've finished Onyx. I've also gone ahead and rough cut the entire video. It just needs an outro, and so here I am now to give you my final thoughts on Onyx, and then a quick like full spoilers review of what I thought about throughout the series as I was reading it, but wasn't able to say in the video because I didn't want to spoil it for others who might have been watching. And then at that point onwards, if you don't want spoilers, you can completely skip, but that's just for the people who have already read the series and can come discuss with me, because now that I'm done and I've, you know, all caught up, I feel sick. I think I'm gonna throw up. All I've done since I finished that book is think about the ending and how I regret not having got the physical with me, because I would like immediately start a reread. I think just going through all the clues and whatnot and starting to understand what the bigger picture was building up to. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. Rewind to the fact that I'm done with Onyx. This one still, in my opinion, wasn't as good as Iron Flame, so I'm gonna give it 4 stars, which is still a great rating obviously. But I feel like, in my opinion also, I think because I read it all broken up over the span of like travel days and all these other days, trying to like speed read it before I got here, I don't think I was able to like soak up the entire experience of actually getting to read it for the first time, which means I cannot wait now to like soon do a reread and whatnot of the whole series, go through all the clues, but also kind of reread this in its own aspect, because I feel like if I give it the time it deserves, it definitely could have been like a 5-star. It's just because I've been all over the place for the past couple of weeks and I've been reading it throughout, you know, during, and I haven't been able to like put aside time for it, because now I'm on vacation, I'm meeting up with like family and doing all these other things. Because my attention span has definitely been distracted and divided up, I haven't been able to give it what it deserves. And if that would have been the case, like I said, it would have been 5 stars, which is why for now it's 4, but it's like a working 4-star. We'll get back to it, and when I finally read it, that'll be my final rating. So for now, let's just roll with that. But moving on to the actual story, it definitely did pick up in the fantasy elements towards the end. I feel like another 10% after where I'd stopped off in my last update is where truly things started to go crazy. There was again all this like crazy stuff going on, and I feel like that's any fantasy book, but especially this entire series. I've always noticed that towards the last, like, I'd say 20-25%, things are just going insane. There's like bombshells being dropped on you, and all I'll say again is, for the people who actually read Onyx Storm around the time it came out, they have been waiting with the ending that was given for God knows how long. Recently the author announced on Insta that she has begun writing like the next book and whatnot, which still makes me feel better knowing that I've read that book and knowing that the next one is in the process of coming. It's just I I cannot imagine having read that book early 2025 and then having waited till right now to know that it's coming, the next one, and having sat on that ending, because truly insane story. But getting back to it now, fantasy elements picked up. I definitely have questions that I will be speaking about now towards the end of the video. The romance, again, it's slayed. Every time the two of them were together, whatever was going on, I was just having the best time of my life. Truly one of my like top book couples ever at this point. And then obviously like the mysteries and stuff that were coming at the end of the book and the action and thrillerness of it, truly again such a great book. I feel like this would make like a really good movie or show when it gets adapted. I'm not really sure what is being adapted into or if that's in process at the moment, but if they do it well, this could definitely look great on TV. Apart from that, yeah, all I can think about or all I thought about as I was reading this specific book was the fact that Opalite, I feel like Taylor Swift definitely wrote it keeping this in mind. Maybe she's also read it, because what do you mean dancing through the lightning strikes and, you know, Onyx eyes, like a direct reference to like this book obviously, but then also we have like a bunch of other Taylor songs that lined up in my head to the point where I want to make a playlist, so you can definitely see how the series is impacting me. It's like a 5-star series overall. It's just the specific books leading up aren't exactly, apart from the first one, but still I feel like a reread would definitely fix that. And apart from that, yeah, the thing I will say is now that I'm done with it, I can definitely go deep dive in the fandom, see what everyone else is talking about. So that's one good perk in the whole thing and whatnot, because now I can actually go through all the spoilers and add my own input into it, knowing what I know with the ending. But yeah, truly such an incredible, amazing time. I had so much fun reading, and you know what, even though I said that I wasn't having the best time, you know, previously, I take that back, because it made up for it. It was like a trust in the process sort of book. I still enjoyed Iron Flame more than this, but this was still really good in my opinion. I'm still so confused and just like messed over after that ending, and it was insane. If you haven't read it, please do, or maybe read it closer to like the release date of the next one once it's announced, because I can't fathom waiting however long it's gonna be, a couple years, who knows. But until then, yeah, was that I'm done at this point, and this would be the end of the video potentially for you if you haven't read the rest of the books and if you don't want like spoilers on it and stuff, because now I'm gonna be giving whatever I thought were like spoilery thoughts out, so you should just like skip if you don't want to hear them. But now that you've been warned, let's just jump right in. The first thing I wanted to discuss was the fact that we have Endana and then her kind, the Arids, and I have so many questions. I feel like we are going to go so much deeper about them obviously, but then also Endana, I find this so interesting because I saw it online and then it clicked in my head as well. If you line up the books in the series that are out so far and whatnot, but if you line them vertically, not like horizontally on your shelf, the covers, they kind of match up in color sequence. Now mine personally, I have the UK version of Iron Flame, so it doesn't, but if you like look up the US covers and stuff, the gradient goes as per the color Endana was in the book specifically. And in interviews, Rebecca Yarros has said that she will not kill animals and stuff, so like the cat Broccoli, but she's not above killing dragons, and she's done it before. So that makes me wonder that how important is Endana gonna be that the color that she was in the book is literally the book cover, and the fact that if she's not above killing dragons, if she's ready to make that ultimate sacrifice at the end, I feel like Endana would be the ultimate sacrifice towards the end of the series for like maybe curing Xaden once he's like Venom at this point and whatnot, because Rebecca Yarros can't kill Ten, she can't kill Sigil because of the bond and whatnot, which makes me wonder if Endana's gonna be the sacrifice for like emotional payoff and whatnot for everyone to like feel it, but also maybe it'll make sense in the end. So that's number one. The second thing is Violet. Obviously her hair was sort of explained to a degree and stuff, and then we have, you know, the explanation coming in, but I still feel like we're lacking details on what happened with the priestesses and stuff, what her parents did in the past. And also on the subject of her parents, her mom specifically, I'm wondering now why Lilith used Sloane to power the Wardstone as a siphon rather than powering it herself without using Sloane in the middle. And that makes me wonder if she's Venom, her mom, and if she would have powered herself, that would have made her channel or something like that, to the point where she literally needed Sloane like as a mandatory guide, so she wouldn't have like gone into her instincts and stuff to save the college, because she is ready to sacrifice anything for her kids, as we've learned. And so if her mom is Venom, that makes Violet this offspring of Venom, and so that makes her something we've never experienced before. So again, we need to deep dive into that. But also, as we're discussing what Violet is, if you remember at the beginning of the series when Ten was talking to her, like after mating her or something for the first time, I do believe, or I'm not really sure, but I'm pretty sure he says something along the lines of, I know exactly who and what you are, Violet Sorrengail, what you are, what is she? And so that makes me wonder, what if she's not Venom? going off into another theory, because at this point I'm just spitballing here. What if she is one of the gods, and what if the signets that we've been told about her aren't necessarily like explored to the full extent? And what if when we've been told that, oh, she's like a dream walker, and oh, she's like a lightning power, what if she is more than that? And what if she's a god in the sense that she commands other gods? Because every time she orders Malik not to like kill off a person, and she's just praying that, please Malik, don't take these people away, they end up staying. But also she's commanding all these dragons that are not her dragons. For example, she speaks to Sigil and she speaks to Kuda and whatnot, and they listen to her. What if she is more than what we've been told so far, and that's why she's been referred to as that? So that's number 2. Again, lots of theories about Violet, so we can keep that going basically. And again, I want more about her hair in the next book hopefully, so there's that. Next up, about the dragons specifically, I feel like any fantasy series, obviously there's dragons to an extent, but this one specifically, if you look at the name of the series, is called the Empyrean, which is basically what the group of dragons calls themselves. And so now it makes me wonder, how important are these dragons? Because obviously they're in the story and they're playing quite a part, but are they important enough to warrant the whole name of the series, that it's been named after them and we still don't know why? Which now makes me wonder, are the dragons essentially the bad people in the story? And Venin, I'm not saying that the Venin are good or bad and whatnot, I'm not sure at the moment, but dragons specifically, are they all like bad and whatnot, and all the good ones like Taryn are like double agents? But like that's why we have like bad ones like Jack Barlow's dragon, and Varish, that guy who's torturing her in book 2, his dragon and whatnot, that they're all working to some extent to like be the bad people essentially, and they're the villains essentially, and they're hiding stuff. And that's why Jack Barlow at some point in one of the books, because now it's become one big story in my head, but that's why at some point he says that you're bonded to 2 villains when she calls him a villain or something like that. And so are the dragons the bad people, and they'll be revealed at some point, and that's why the whole series is called the Empyrean, because they're fighting against the Empyrean. They just don't know it yet, and they don't know about the stuff that's going on. And then also there's that story about the 3 brothers who like channel and whatnot, and then Violet is obviously the one who commands the sky with lightning and stuff that's been given to her by Taryn. Who are the other 2? And then does it come into play with the dragons and stuff? Because it could definitely be her siblings, but it could also be Xaden and his person, the other brother, because it could be brother in arms, as in the brother you've been working alongside and fighting along with, not necessarily brother by blood. And so again, does it come back to the dragons? Because why would the series be called the Empyrean if it wasn't to like emphasize on the dragons, just like the covers about Andarna? And so I feel like everything has been plotted very specifically, but there's also that. While we're at it, this is not like a major theory, it's just something I wanted to point out, but this book is called Onyx Storm, and throughout the series we've been told that Xaden's eyes are onyx colored, and that's what attracts Violet to him initially. And so in this book, as he turns to Venin and whatnot, one of the first things he loses are those onyx eyes start turning red, but Violet still loves him. And that's just something I wanted to point out, because I thought that was so sweet, and I just had to come in with that, because what do you mean? I mean, they're soulmates in my head obviously, but like, what do you mean? And then lastly, when we come back to the ending of the book now, Onyx Storm, basically, the wedding. I can't believe the author skipped over all of that. This is giving Asimov 2.0 once that wedding was skipped over, because I cannot process it. But at the same time, now it's making me wonder if the 176 page book that's coming in September, if it's going to be about her missing 12 hours, because Imogen knows more than she's been letting on. She definitely wiped out her memories, but also missing 12 hours of Violet, what really happened during that? And because it's supposed to be like a book 3.5, Rebecca Yarros said in an interview, what if it's taking place right after the events of Onyx Storm, and so we backtrack and we go over those 12 hours and what actually went down during, and we get a wedding, we get to know more answers and whatnot to the questions we're asking. And so there's definitely that element. But also now going back to Xaden in the like ending and whatnot, he says there's another brother, and so that's making me question who that person is. And while we're at it, obviously I'm going to do like a whole separate like full spoilers vlog for the entire series once I go back home and have the physical so I can read it, and I'll definitely discuss like in-depth theories about that at that point. But at the moment, my money is on Bodhi, his cousin, because I feel like everyone else who knew that he was Venin and whatnot right from the beginning, they're all accounted for except Bodhi. No one was with him, no one knows where he went off to. He's like the last expected person. They all expected him to be the nice guy essentially, to take over Tirandor if something happens to Xaden. And so what if he's the one who turned just to save everyone he loves, because he's always been the spare and his job is to protect, and he leaned into that. And so there's that element. But then also, what if it's the other guys? So now I'm confused, but then there's also that. And then going off of whoever's Venin and whatnot, that theory, this is just like a random him against Spitball, but it makes me wonder if Riddick is Venom, because at some point in the book he gets like knifed or something like that, and then Violet sees him getting knifed, but then he says it catches on like the sleeve of his jacket, and he's like a very beloved character to the point where I know Rebecca Yarros will do something crazy to like drop your jaws and stuff. So like I think for like crazy impact, she definitely could make him Venom and say he was right along the beginning, which is why he's so like intense about protecting Violet so that she doesn't befall to the same fate. And once he figures out that Xaden is Venom as well, he has this like outburst, because obviously things are being hidden from him, but also he doesn't want his friends, he's like a good Venom, like falling in the same path that he fell in, and maybe he's like one of the higher ones, which is why Xaden can't like detect him and stuff. And so there's all of that. He's like one of the good inside guys, if that makes sense, but then also again it's just going over my head. So for right now, I feel like this definitely was an unexpected book. The beginning of it, I wouldn't have never speculated that, you know, I read from that was the same story I'd be reading by the end of it and having so much to go off of, you know, at this point then. But here we are anyway. These are all the speculations I can think of in the moment, at least right now. If there's more, I'll definitely cover them, you know, in my other video I'll be doing on the subject. But until then, here we are. If you have any of your own theories, please leave them in the comments for me. If you want to speak about the books with me, please do, because I have literally no one at the moment. I'm still waiting to like surprise my cousin, and so until I go speak with her, I need someone to like tide me over, which is why here we are. That's basically gonna be my ask of the year from you guys, because at this point I can't process the sort of ending we got without knowing the release date of the next book, but also knowing the fact that the author posted on Insta saying she's writing the next book. She's already done with the novella, so we'll be getting that soon. But the next book, specifically the fourth one, she posted and she had like a Reputation song going. I think it was like Look What You Made Me Do or something like that in the background. Makes me wonder if we're getting like rep eras and villain eras for everyone, which would be really fun to read about as well. But overall, yeah, there's a lot to go over, there's a lot to discuss, which is why, again, going off into our conclusion for this video is going to be the fact that this is like a very important series to me at this point in life, considering the fact that I just finished and I'm in like a tailspin, to the point where once I get back home, or I'm thinking maybe sooner to the release date of the fourth book, so I can like recap and brush over like exact details, so I can like go in knowing all I need to for the next book. I think I'll be doing a whole vlog wherein I'll be doing full spoilers for these books again, having gone back to reread them, just so I can pick up bits I did not pick up the first time around, but also so that we can like theorize together in that video, which is why if I missed anything in this specific vlog that I can't think of in the moment, because I didn't have like a notes app, I was just going off of what I remembered, it'll be in that video. It'll also be along with my own thoughts and exact things I read and how I felt about them in the reading. So here we are. Now with that, we have reached the end of this specific reading vlog, so hopefully you guys had a good time coming along with me, and if you did, like, comment, share, subscribe. YouTube things, you know how to do them. You will definitely be getting more videos on the Fourth Wing series, so literally don't worry about that, because that's the only thing on my mind right now. But also, if anyone's got like more fantasy recommendations similar to this, because after having read this, I just know I want to jump right into my fantasy phase again. I don't regret having read any of these. I want to like start again because it's very worth the payoff in my opinion. It could definitely become like a top genre at some point. Please leave your recs in the comment section down below. Once I get back home, I'll get back to the Akatar series because I have physicals at home, and so we'll be doing full spoiler vlogs for that as well until the new book comes out towards the end of the year. I feel like it's gonna be such like a crazy year for all the fantasy people. So yeah, here we are. But until then, now we have reached the end of this specific vlog. So see you all directly in next week's video very soon whenever it comes out. It's gonna be very fun because it's gonna be vacation coded basically, because now I'm on vacation. And yeah, hopefully we'll take our time in that recovering from whatever this was. And so I'll see you all next week, like I said, and until then, take care, stay safe. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you'll enjoy this video specifically coming along with me. And if you're in the same boat as me, recovering still from Onyx storm, literally let's process and recover together, because that's the only thing on my mind. So I'll go do that now, and I'll see you all in a bit, and until then, bye.